Good to go, son.
Oh, really, Dad? Thank you. With your camera? Oh, wow. Cheers, thank you.
So, good morning. If you've watched my introductory video, and if you haven't, I'll put a link for it up here. Go and check it out. You'll know that photography for me started at that particular moment that I've just recreated with a camera very similar to this. This is the Box Brownie. This is not the actual one. We sold it years ago. But thanks ever so much to Sarah and Pete, who are in the family, who let me have this to borrow and bring away with me. I'm in Jersey, as you may know. This is Gory Common, and that's Plemont Beach, excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, castle, in the distance there. And thanks ever so much to Marc from BAM Perspectives. Marc's a drone pilot who does lots of really great work on the island. Who gave me the location. I sent him the two images that you've just, or the image that you've just seen. There's two, you haven't seen the other one yet. I sent him the image that you've just seen, and he said, I know exactly where that is, and he sent me a map with a pin in it to tell me almost exactly where to stand. So thanks for that, Marc, if you ever get to see this. It's really an interesting place for me to come. That moment, when I heard that shutter click, like, Dad let me have his camera, which he cherished, and the 124 film that used to go in the back was where it all started for me. So I'm back here on Jersey. I've come along to shoot some seascapes. As you know from last week's video, it's a magical place to do seascapes because it's surrounded by beach. Loads of interesting spots, loads of interesting harbours, loads of interesting rocks and falls. So I'm out here today scouting out locations for sunrise, which I'm going to shoot tomorrow, which I hope you'll enjoy with me. In the meantime, thanks ever so much for tuning in. If you wait right to the end, I'll put the images up for you to have a look. And I hope you enjoy this week's shoot. So this is as near as we could find to the location. I think some of the rocks are under this sand, maybe, and maybe some of these have been worn away. I don't know. We've looked and looked and looked at this absolutely wonderful beach, and we can't see exactly where it could be. It could also be that the tide was further out, and maybe there's some rocks down here. It could be this little lot here. I don't know, but this is the most magnificent beach I have ever been on, I think. In fact, I'd probably say definitely. As a boy, this must have been wonderful. There's loads of things to climb. There's loads of rock pools to look in. There are caves around the back. Just a place you can come and lose yourself. Because Jersey's so full of beaches, or so surrounded by beaches, there's so many places you can just get lost, which is absolutely wonderful. And no wonder my family used to enjoy coming here. It's just a wonderful place. Now I'm going to have a look at my compass and see what we're looking at for sunrise or sunset. You need to get the sunrise or sunset out in this bay somewhere, and I have a feeling I think west is going to be this way for this time of year. I think we're going to have the sun setting behind here. I think when we go sunrise, I think it's going to set behind the cliffs over there. So I'm not sure we're going to get that, but we might still get some colour in the sky here. And there's so much foreground to work with. It's going to be wonderful. The textures on these are beautiful. I am convinced I'm going to get some good pictures here. Some really lovely seascapes. So I'm going to forget, I think, the idea of the sun setting exactly in my picture and just think about the lights, the colours, and just how wonderful this beach is. See if we can capture that. So make a plan, may go and have some lunch now, and I think what we'll do is come back at sunset tonight and have some fun. The other thing you have to think about, of course, is the tide. And I think the tide, well, I know the tide's on its way out. It's just a question of how high it will be up tonight. But even if it's quite a long way up, there are so many rocks behind me that look brilliant. There'll be something to work with, I'm sure. So let's go and have some lunch, and then we'll see what we get later on. So I've come down to Plemont to do a sunset. Now I did check the tide tables, which as you're supposed to do. I knew it was coming in, but I don't know, having not been here before, what high tide looks like at Plemont. And it looks like this. It looks so high you can't even get on the beach. There were so many coves behind me. I thought, well, I'm sure we'll be able to do something, but unfortunately there's still an hour to go to high tide, and we're a bit scuppered. The sky's not looking great anyway, so what I've decided to do is just focus on these lovely rocks, and they are beautiful, and just to experiment with a lee little stopper, which is a 6-stop grad, which will go over the front, and that's dulling the exposures down to give me something like 2 or 3 second exposures. I'm just waiting for, so the waves are crashing over the rocks, and as it ebbs away, the rocks are exposed, which means I can then take a photograph, and we see the rocks, and then around the bottom of it is some blurred water, which actually is quite nice, quite abstracty. But even since I've started shooting, I was shooting before we started recording this, even since then, the tide's gone up even further. So what I'm going to probably do, the sun's going off to, well, it's behind me, as you can see, and that's eventually going to drop down under these rocks. So we might just hang about here just in case, because there's some nice rocks the other side. But this is one of those days where you have to just kind of make do. I mean, I could come back tomorrow here. It's a beautiful place, but the sun, the tide is going to be pretty much at the same time. So this just slots into the front, the filter holder. The camera will then go dark. I'll adjust the exposure, and actually what's really good about these mirrorless cameras is that you can see exactly what it looks like through the exposure, through the LCD, EVF LCD. It's a lovely evening though, but not quite what I was planning. Right, off to work then. So I won't pretend this is what I intended to shoot tonight, but this is what happens with local knowledge. If you don't know a location, then you take your chances. I mean, I'd looked at the tide tables, presumed I'd still be able to get on the beach, but it's amazingly high. Still people behind me who have been swimming, which sounds lovely, but it scared the life out of me. The tide's still got another hour to go, and sun sets in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to play with these long exposures still with the rocks. I mean, the rocks around here are beautiful. There's some old steps down here which you can't see. I'll show you a photo in a minute. There used to be a bridge that goes across, so that's kind of like a man-made structure that's been destroyed. I quite like that kind kind of feel. I mean, if you remember the derelict barn vlog that I did, if you didn't see it, I'll put it up, the link up to it so you can have a look. But some kind of man-made structure that's been derelict I really like. And actually with a long exposure, the water, as long as it's white, will blur around it and create some really nice pictures. So we've got the cable release so I can time it, and I'm just waiting for the waves to break round and create a nice pattern. The exposure is about 2.5 seconds at f/22. If I need it any longer, then I'll shut down a bit. If I need it any shorter, then I'll open it. As it gets darker, of course, the exposure will get longer, so it'll probably end up opening the aperture up a little bit. Depth of field is not a problem at this range. I'm fully zoomed out, so not what I expected, but I think it's a decent image. I think the images are nice. If the images aren't good enough, I'm not gonna record this vlog and not gonna show you. So the fact that I'm recording this probably tells me that I'm happy enough with what I've got. But tomorrow may be sunrise. We've got to recheck the tide tables now that we've realised this could be a problem. So I'll have a little look tonight. But you may see me tomorrow at a sunrise location. If not, I might end up doing some big stopper, little stopper stuff back here with the rocks, exactly the same as I'm doing now, but in daylight, and that works really well. I've actually haven't done that for ages. That's a really nice thing to do. So I'll carry on with this. I'll show you the images now, see what you think. A very different kind of vlog, but interesting nonetheless. See you in a minute. So I don't know whether you can see that. If you can, look at this. So this is a long exposure with all this white water and foam is around the rock. And then I've got this fissure in this rock here, which goes up, and I've put it directly over the center. So it looks like almost this bit, then joins to that bit. So it's very abstract. I might just crop it in a touch, but that is lovely. I'm really happy with that. So in the end, we rescued a really nice shoot. So this is actually, I'm really liking these. Just waiting for the waves to come out. I've now got a 5-second exposure. Well, you can't see that, can you? But actually, f/22, 5 seconds, really looks lovely. I think the colour of the water helps. I mean, there's some really nice diagonals I've got coming in the rocks in the background. It's a bit of an abstract image, but actually, looks really, really lovely. So just going to face this way now because it's now sunset, but don't like it as much as I like this. Good. Okay, I might just hang about here, I think, because I think I want to get a really long exposure. So let's see if we get something around 10 seconds, see what it likes. I'll put these on the screen and see what you think. Back to work.
Turn up the dial. You know what you gotta do. Get wild. You ain't gotta play it cool. Get wild. Take a rocket to the
So when I got back to the computer, I realised that I hadn't recorded an outro, and the reason for that was I was going to record that one and the one you're going to see on Sunday together, but they're both long enough to make separate vlogs. Don't want people getting bored, so I've split them into two. So just wanted to say thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the vlog. That vlog is a real good lesson about local knowledge. The tide came up so high, I was really surprised. Lovely though, great evenings entertainment, great evenings photography, and I hope you've enjoyed the images. If you're wondering where I am now, this is 2 weeks later, and I'm just scouting out a local woodland, which is going to appear in an upcoming vlog, a couple of weeks' time. We're just in the end, just the middle of October now, and the colours are starting to change in these ancient oaks. So
I just wanted to come up and have a look and get some shots sorted out. I'm coming back again in a couple of days' time to do the vlog properly. So thank you very much once more for tuning in. Make sure you tell your friends, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks ever so much for supporting the channel. Until Sunday, when I'm going to be in a place called Portland Bay for the most fantastic sunrise, the best so far. I hope you can join me for that. Until Sunday then, look after yourselves, take care, see you soon. But this is the blue hour, and you can see already the hint of a sunrise coming up. So I've got the GFX out, we're going to have some photographs, we're going to have some fun, and I'll record it as we go along. So yes, finally a good sunrise on Jersey.